I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Promise, welcome back. It is Wednesday, and just want to have minutes to shout out Mr. Matchett. Yesterday, our faculty was able to come together to celebrate his retirement after 38 years in the classroom. And we did this as a faculty yesterday, but kids, just look around. Teachers, raise your hand if you were taught by Mr. Matchett. Wow. And then I want you to go home and ask your parents if they had Mr. Matchett. He has left quite a bit of a legacy here at Okeechobee High School, all 38 years, except for 1 year in the same classroom, dedicating to our Okeechobee community. So congratulations to you, Mr. Matchett. And we cannot wait to see all the pictures of your travels and life after this career. All right. Also have an important announcement for AP students. So did you know that you can send a free score report? So especially those students who are moving into their senior year, who are going to begin applying to colleges, you have one opportunity every summer to send a free score report to a college or university of your choice. That score report will include all AP scores from every AP test that you've taken in your high school career to the college or university of your choice. I believe it's like $15 after the June 20th deadline. You must go in and sign up to send that free score report before scores are released. After that, you'll have to pay for each college or university that you send those reports to. You can do that through your College Board account. Also want to give a shout out to our NHS and Beta students. They are putting together a luncheon for the faculty and staff today in the cafeteria. So thank you all so much. This is an annual end of year thing, and it's a nice treat every year. So we really appreciate the hard work that goes into that. But that's also going to change some things up for lunch. So if you normally sit inside the cafeteria for A or B lunch, we're going to have the large area of the cafeteria blocked off for staff members. Without semester exams, it kind of makes this lunch period just a little wonky, but we will get through that. You might have to find a new place to sit for today. I think that's all I have. Okay.
Good morning. Just a reminder that summer school will run from June 3rd to the 27th from 8:30 to 1:30. We were making phone calls yesterday. Many of the juniors have been called. Seniors have been identified if they need to attend summer school for credit recovery. But sophomores, about half of you have been called. Just be on the lookout at your GPA again. And if there's any courses that you want to recover, reach out to either myself or Miss Went so that we can get that information into our summer school drive so that we can get you transportation. That's all I got.
Happy Wednesday. I still almost said Thursday. I know I'm telling on myself, but I still almost did it. Happy Wednesday. That's all I have. Have a great day.
Okay, I have 2 gift cards left. Bingo numbers. Okay, 062, 073, N38, and N35. Mr. Julian was our most recent winner, and he spun the hopper, and these are his numbers that he drew. So again, that's who you direct I haven't won yet emails to. Hopefully, I'm thinking this might do it. Like, I don't have a whole lot left in the little basket. So hopefully we get those last 2 given out today. So be quick. If it's you, make sure you let me know soon. Speaking of soon, summer school. So summer school is not next week. Summer school starts June 3rd. That is the following Monday. So I know Mrs. Kidd and I have given out lots of letters with summer school information. And I know, because I went through them yesterday, that we don't have them all back. So if you freshmen, if you have a letter and you haven't given to your parents, we will call them. You are just prolonging the inevitable by holding out and not giving it to them. Go in, check your semester grades. We talked to you about if you get to this point, you don't need to come. We'll take you off the list. We'll call you and we'll take you off the list. But most of you that we've given a letter to, you're going to need to be there on June 3rd. So if you hold out on your parents, then we get to talk to them, and that may not be better than you talking to them. I don't know. Depends at this point what your relationship is with your parents. Either way, we will let them know, and we do want you there if you either are short credits, have a GPA less than 2.0, or failed a semester of either math or ELA. Those are 3 reasons why we need you in summer school, because we love you, but like I always say, we don't want to see you next year. So yeah, Mrs. Kidd, what you got?
Freshman, it is your last day on main campus, because tomorrow and Friday you need to make sure that you catch that shuttle bus and come here for PBIS. PBIS is tomorrow. Then of course Friday is our early release day. With PBIS, remember, no referrals in order to go. So I still need you on your best behavior. I know you're turning in those Chromebooks, but your teachers will still have something for you to do to be attentive in class and stay in class. So again, just make sure that you're taking care of that so you can show up at PBIS tomorrow. Make sure you bring real cash. Again, we'll have the Kona Ice, we'll have lemonade and candy and all that stuff to sell. So it'll be a great time.
All right, that's all we have for you this Wednesday. Make it a good one. As together we
Move forward.
Be great.
And B,
Brahmins.
all day.
All day.
Yay.
Hello, welcome back to this month's wellness video. My name is Catherine Williams and I'm the Director of Mental Health and Behavioral Supports. It's great to see you again. Last month we talked about the serious crime of human trafficking. This month we are going to talk about substance abuse and how and why you should not abuse substances such as drugs and alcohol. Let's review our ground rules that we established in previous videos. As we present our topics, these ground rules will help us have productive and respectful discussions, as well as safe learning environments within our classrooms. Our first ground rule is that we should all listen with an open mind. We need to respect each other's beliefs and opinions, even if we do not agree. We will avoid personal stories. It is okay to ask questions and to share information with the class. However, we want to be sure to leave individual names out of the stories or questions. Next, we will be supportive of one another. We will not tease or make fun of anyone or anything that is said in this class. We will listen when someone is speaking, and only one person will speak at a time. We will be respectful. Our last and most important ground rule is that whatever is shared in this room stays in this room. This is a safe space to speak and ask questions. What is said in this room should not be gossiped about later in the hallways, cafeteria, classrooms, or on social media. However, please know that we want you to discuss with your parents or guardians the material that is presented in our videos. It is important to note that if a student discloses harmful behavior or potential harmful behavior to any adult, that adult is required by law to report that behavior. To begin, let's ask the question, why do you think youth use and or abuse drugs and alcohol? Teachers, please pause the video now to get student responses to this question. According to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, if you included these reasons in your answers, then you're exactly right. Because of symptoms of anxiety or depression, lack of positive social interaction or friends, or even trouble with social skills, risk-taking behavior, experimentation, peer pressure, or a family history of substance use or abuse. When we talk about drugs, we're referencing illegal substances such as marijuana, cocaine, and heroin, as well as the misuse of prescription medication. Prescription drug misuse is when someone takes medication for something that it wasn't prescribed for, sharing the medication with someone that the drug wasn't prescribed to, taking too much or too often, or taking it with alcohol or other drugs. Common prescription drugs that are often misused include opioids, an example would be fentanyl, to relieve pain, stimulants such as medication for sleep disorders, and depressants such as medication for anxiety. Abuse of prescription drugs can lead to confusion, breathing irregularity, changes in heart rhythm, agitation, loss of consciousness, or even death. Alcohol, drugs, and tobacco are very addictive. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, tobacco use is the leading cause of death and disability in the United States. The CDC states that by the 12th grade, about 2/3 of students have tried alcohol. About half of 9th through 12th grade students reported using marijuana at least once, and about 40% of 9th through 12th grade students reported having tried cigarettes. Among 12th graders, close to 20% reported using prescription medication without a prescription. Additionally, marijuana has been linked to lung inflammation, chronic bronchitis, and respiratory issues and infections. Unfortunately, according to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, teenagers consume more than 90% of their alcohol by binge drinking. Binge drinking involves consuming a large amount of alcohol in a short period, often defined as 4 or more drinks for women and 5 or more drinks for men within a few hours. We are now going to look at the various legal, mental, and social consequences that underage drinking can cause. Legal consequences, such as criminal charges, which are fines, community service, or mandatory alcohol education programs. DUI offenses, if you're operating a vehicle while intoxicated, this can lead to suspension of your driver's license. A criminal record, this can affect future educational and job opportunities. Mental consequences, such as impaired judgment, alcohol impairs decision-making and can lead to risky behaviors, loss of self-control, or accidents, which may have long-lasting mental and emotional effects. There is no safe level of alcohol use for young people under the age of 18. The safest choice is to abstain from its use. Increased vulnerability. You are more susceptible to the negative psychological effects of alcohol, including depression, anxiety, and addiction. Academic performance. Alcohol can hinder cognitive development and academic performance, potentially leading to long-term educational challenges. Social consequences. One of those could be peer pressure. Underage drinking is often influenced by peer pressure, which can strain relationships and lead to harmful social dynamics. Risky behaviors. Alcohol consumption can lead to risky dating behaviors, violence, or accidents affecting relationships with peers and family. According to the Monitoring the Future project, 50,000 students in the 8th, 10th, and 12th grades are surveyed each year. Some of the findings suggest that students reporting alcohol use in the 6th grade had greater rates of both illicit substance abuse and lifetime illicit substance abuse. Let's watch a video about substance use, its consequences, including addiction, and how to get help.
Have you ever felt stress or pain and you're not quite sure how to deal with it? Have you felt tempted to try drugs or alcohol as a way of coping with stress or pain? Stress and pain are a part of life. Many teens turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to feel better. Not only are many of these substances illegal, but when used too often in too large amounts or for the wrong reasons, they can be very dangerous. There are a wide variety of drugs and alcohol, we will call substances, that are used to feel good or high. These include legal substances, like prescription medications, caffeine, and household chemicals such as glues, aerosols, and cleaners. Substances legal for adults, but illegal for teens, such as alcohol, nicotine products like hookah, cigarettes, and e-cigarettes. Marijuana, which is legal for adults in some states, and illegal drugs like cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines. When your brain is exposed to one of these substances, the substance triggers areas of your brain that make you feel pleasure. Some people want to feel that pleasure over and over again, so they continue to take the substance and may take it in larger amounts. They may come to a point where the body and brain need the substance to feel normal. This is called addiction. It's important to seek help before addiction takes over your life. Warning signs of addiction include using a substance for a long time and needing more to have the same effect, always thinking about finding and using the substance, craving the substance and not being able to stop using it, substance use that affects school or sports performance, work or relationships with family and friends, missing school, work, or social events in order to use the substance, using the substance even when it can be dangerous, like before driving. Seeking treatment for addiction can be difficult. Friends and family members may be the first to notice changes in behavior, mood, and physical health. If friends and family are concerned, it's time to seek help for treating the addiction. Your healthcare provider will do a thorough physical examination and medical history, and ask questions about your use habits. Your healthcare provider will also want to find out if you have any other physical or mental health conditions which can affect the treatment process. Most people need a long-term plan to stop using these substances for good. Talk with your healthcare provider or a mental health professional to find a treatment plan that will work best for you. Treatment options may include a detox program. This program will include care from trained staff who watch your heart and blood pressure closely. They may use prescription medicines to keep you safe as your body cleanses the drugs from your system. Medications can also help remove the remnants of chemicals in your body left over from your substance use. Talk therapy with substance use treatment counselors, medicines to treat addiction and prevent relapse, and support groups. You may also work with a counselor to come up with a plan to help you stay drug and alcohol free. Your plan may include finding support systems. This might include only spending time with friends who are also drug and alcohol free. Having a plan for what to do when you feel tempted to use. Remember, it's okay to say no. Participating in new activities to replace old habits. Finding other ways to manage stress and emotions, such as meditation or deep breathing, exercise, spending time in nature, listening to music, or talking with a trusted friend or family member. And choosing a support program like Alateen or Teen Anon. Quitting can be very difficult and uncomfortable. If you ever feel like you may hurt yourself or others, or have thoughts about taking your own life, get help right away. Call 911, a suicide crisis helpline, or go to your nearest emergency department. Addiction can be very harmful to both you and those around you. For some drugs, all it takes is one time for addiction to begin. Drug use can lead to motor vehicle crashes and other accidents, overdose, and death. The best way to avoid the consequences of drug use and addiction is to avoid starting in the first place. Drug addiction is a condition that is both preventable and treatable. Work with your healthcare provider, counselor, and family to come up with a plan to give you the best chance of getting and staying clean.
What are the consequences of substance use and abuse? Teachers, please pause the video now to allow students to brainstorm some answers to this question. At first, you may choose to take a drug because you like the way it makes you feel. You believe that you are in complete control on how much and how often you choose to use it. However, over time, the use of drugs changes how your brain functions. These changes are damaging and can last a long time, and in some cases for a lifetime. They can make you lose control, make poor choices, and lead to damaging behaviors and outcomes. According to WebMD.com, drug abuse, which is using legal or illegal substances in ways that you should not, can lead to addiction. Addiction is when you can't stop, not even when it puts your health in danger or causes devastating issues for you and your loved ones. These addictive drugs target your brain's reward system, The addictive drugs cause too much of the chemical dopamine in your brain, which triggers messages that you need more of the drug to keep the same good feelings. This can cause you to get less pleasure from the activities you used to enjoy, such as family, food, friends, and activities. Watch this video about how substances and addiction can affect your brain and body.
What is addiction? It's also called a substance use disorder. Over 20 million people nationwide suffer from addiction. 1 in 7 people will experience addiction at some point in their life. Scientists first began to understand addiction as a brain disorder back in the 1950s. Doctors Olds and Milner, in laboratory studies of rats, found the parts of the brain affected by addiction. But then in 1994, Doctors Volkoff and Shelbert, top neuroscientists, ran PET scans of the brain that showed the effects of substance use disorders. And like other diseases, these scans showed it affected tissue function. So there are 2 main parts of the brain affected by drug use: the limbic system and the cortex. The limbic system, located deep within the brain, is responsible for our basic survival instincts. So when you do essential things to stay alive, like eat, drink, find shelter, build relationships, or care for your young, your brain reinforces behaviors that cause the release of dopamine from this region. That reward for surviving is also transmitted to the amygdala and hippocampus, which records a memory of that feeling, so we seek it again. This is our survival hardwiring. Addiction also affects this area, up here. That's the prefrontal cortex, which is what separates us from other animals. And this is where decision-making and impulse control live. When drugs or alcohol are used, they activate the very same dopamine process in the survival center. And when use is repeated, that substance can hijack that part of the brain. This hijacker changes the brain and weakens this system to make it believe that the primary need for survival is the drug. In hijacking the brain, it can usurp those primary motivations: food, water, shelter, relationships, and protecting our young. And the hijacker needs more and more of the substance to activate the same level of reward or feeling of pleasure, causing the brain tissue to become increasingly damaged with continued drug use. So why don't all people who use alcohol or drugs become addicted? There are factors that contribute to the development of a substance use disorder. They include individual factors like your genes, your age of exposure, and then environmental factors like drug availability. But there is good news. Addiction is preventable. Key factors that aid in preventing addiction can be categorized into 2 parts: risk factors and protective factors. Protective factors range from parental involvement, programs that improve self-control, limiting availability, and increasing attachment to your community. Another key element in preventing substance use disorders is to delay when use begins. Put simply, prevention is about delaying the onset of first use. In the adolescent brain, where brain tissue is more vulnerable, the hijacker is more prone to weaken the brain and plant itself as a disease. Those with substance use disorders commonly initiate first use much earlier, between 12 and 18 years old, which increases the likelihood of the hijacker taking hold. But if the hijacker does take hold, addiction is treatable. Advancements have been made in assessments, treatment programs, recovery supports, and medications to treat addiction. Brain scans show that once in recovery, the tissue in the limbic system and cortex can get better. With your help, we can expand these innovations to help millions of individuals and families and ensure that addiction is treated as the medical issue that it is. Together, we can solve this. Join us.
It's also important to remember there are disciplinary consequences for the use of drugs or alcohol on school grounds that could even lead to an arrest. Use of these substances can have a negative impact on your future. Choosing to use them could lower your grades through missed class time, impact your ability to play sports, or cause ineligibility for scholarships. Sometimes people use drugs to help them relax, escape stress, or to help them cope. This is not a healthy way to practice self-care. Please remember the idea of self-awareness and responsible decision-making. Do you remember when we talked about self-care back in previous wellness videos? Teachers, please pause the video now to let students review types of healthy self-care. Great. I'm sure you mentioned things like taking care of your personal hygiene, eating well, getting enough sleep, getting some exercise, making time for social activities, and paying attention to your thoughts and feelings. Self-care is the most important way to boost and maintain both emotional and physical health. Many people today neglect it due to a lack of time, and this negatively impacts the lives of those who do not make sure that they are taking care of themselves. Have self-awareness, meaning focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, and emotions align with what is best for you. Take care of yourself. Now that you have information and consequences about the dangers of alcohol and drug use, how would you demonstrate and communicate refusal to participate in underage drinking and illicit drug use? Teachers, let's take a few minutes to allow students to share. Alcohol, marijuana, and other substances can harm brain development, lead to dangerous behavior, accidents, violence, medical emergencies, or lifetime dependency. Academic performance can be impacted by lower grades and the incurring of legal problems that limit future career opportunities that can impede goals, achievements, and dreams. Abstaining from these harmful substances can help youth lead a healthier lifestyle. You can also be a leader and advocate for others to remain alcohol and drug-free. Today's relaxation activity is called 4-7-8 breathing. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. And then breathe out for 8 seconds. Be sure to take big, deep breaths in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Teachers, please pause the video now to review today's material and to practice the 4-7-8 breathing activity. We hope you learned from this lesson. Today's wellness video lesson and activities were developed by our district licensed mental health professionals with the help of district resources and the online resources of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, and WebMD.com. Remember, we want you to know that it's okay to speak with someone if you feel you need some help or support. Teachers are available and you can always see your school counselor. You can also speak to your trusted adults and parents or guardians. Here are some resources for you to use. We hope you enjoyed today's lesson and we look forward to seeing you for our next wellness video.